All right, Rick, you want to rock and roll? Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to call meeting of May 27, 2021 to order. Can I have a roll call, please? There's a mute button on everybody's mic, so. Here.
Ms. Quackenbush, Mr. Rosenberg,
Here.
Mr. Santana,
Here.
Mr. Spindell,
Present.
Mr. Banta.
Here. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with provisions of this Act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on May 19, 2021. Items we discussed during closed work session, May 27, 2021, may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized to protect the public safety and property. The results of the discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Would you please join me in a flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Norcia. He's got a couple of comments.
Good evening, everyone. You hear me okay? Good? Okay. Thank you. So first, I would like to start off by speaking about a sad, horrible incident that took place yesterday in Fair Lawn. One of our students, 9-year-old students, was hit by a car yesterday in Fair Lawn, and we've been in communication with the family. Our school and our community does what they always do, rallying behind this family and keeping them in their thoughts and prayers. And I would just, I would be remiss if I didn't ask the whole community to please keep thinking about this young boy, think about his family, think about his siblings, and just keep praying for them. And we will continue to do the same thing on our end. We did open up the school and also the school where his sibling attends for counseling today. We made counselors available. I'd like to thank Ms. Camille DeFranco, who was instrumental in that process, and Dr. Jonathan Hesney, and Pete Petrelli, and Care Plus, and our child study team members and counselors. And tomorrow as well, even though that we aren't closed for school tomorrow, we felt it was important that we open up that school again tomorrow and offer counseling for anybody that needs it. If anybody out there is looking for something or would like to speak with somebody, you can always email me or reach out to one of us and we'll steer you in the right direction. With that being said, I'm going to switch gears to a happier topic. I would like to congratulate the 25-year Service Award recipients. They have worked in Fair Lawn for the last 25 years, which is quite an accomplishment to work in one place. Martha Bombardier, Ann Cardillo, Keffinger, Theodora Gramcow, Jovine Carabinos, Christy Murphy, George Schmidt, Ellen Charlo, and Patricia Ward. If we could give them a round of applause. Typically, pre-pandemic, we usually have them here. We give them a nice gift, our recipients, but at this point, we're still a little hesitant about inviting people to meetings right now. However, we do have a token of our appreciation for them that we will be sharing with them. But thank you. I'd also like to congratulate our Director of Security, Rob McNamara, as well as the Business Office for securing the 2020 ELISA laws grant funds in the tune of over $200,000, which is quite a feat. If you've ever filled out an application for a grant, it's quite extensive, and we're really proud of Mr. Rob McNamara for doing that. and securing that grant for us, which enables us to provide additional security features for our district, which is something that I think we can all agree on is something that's not much needed, but benefits our students. The last thing I would like to speak about before we jump into the agenda is something I spoke with the Finance Committee briefly about the other night, as well as something that we've spoke about here in the past, is pre-pandemic we offered subscription busing to students on the other side of Broadway. And obviously the pandemic has changed a lot of that. In addition to changing a lot of that also, if we even qualify for subscription busing. We know that all those factors aside, we want everybody to know that did not go away completely. It's something that went away for this year, but we are still considering whether or not that is an option. What I want you to know is that we are looking at all options, if we can still offer subscription busing and anything else that's out there. So we are still going to continue to investigate that over the next month. We think there may be able to be some viable options for it, and we want to bring it back to the board and let you know. So I just want anybody out there that's asking or wondering about subscription busing, it is still something that we are seriously looking into, and we will bring it back to the board within the next month or so to make a decision on that. So hang in there. Yep. And we are closed tomorrow, by the way. Apparently a couple of people did not get the memo, know that we were giving that snow day back for the unused snow day that we didn't have. So we do have a long weekend. For anybody that is watching this, please do not come to school tomorrow. And public service announcement.
Public service announcement, great. Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to take comments from members of the public about agenda items. If you'd like to speak, please just, it's up to your right, the microphone, just step up, state your name and your street, not your address, but your street and your name. Any questions, comments on any agenda item from members of the public? Okay, seeing none. Members of the board, questions, comments on agenda items? Cindy?
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment on the superintendent report on the 25-year service recognition. Congratulations to all of them, but I have two people that I'd like to personally recognize, and that would be Theodora Grantow and Christy Murphy. When my children first started Westmoreland, Theodora and Christy were instrumental in getting me involved in the school, the PTA, PTO, and learning the ins and outs of being a volunteer and giving back to the community. And I just wanted to personally thank them and thank them for everything that they have taught me. And I wish them the best of luck, another 25 years.
Thank you, Cindy. Any other board members? Questions, comments? Rita?
I'm continuously giving a hard time to obtain records to make an informed decision. For example, tonight on the agenda, there is a contract with ESS to outline substitute service. The rates are not public on the agenda for the public to see. And it took me many emails with the superintendent and the board president to be able to see the rates. This contract is worth $1 million, and the service fee is $210,000 approximately. That means the company is going to get $210,000 approximately after salary. I should not spend hours emailing back and forth to obtain contracts on the agenda. This is a complete waste of my time. Just for the record, the contract that's on the agenda tonight was sent to the board members at 9:21 p.m. yesterday. This contract is only 2 pages long. However, I was told on Wednesday by the superintendent, and I quote, "Due to the large volume of paper to copy and scan, please make an appointment." Again, this contract was 2 pages long. I also have questions on the contract. My first question is, it says it's a 3-year contract, but it says it will automatically renew for another year. So isn't it a 4-year contract? I'm a little confused on that.
You want to answer about the contract? No, okay. Oh, you're going, okay.
Yes, it is a 3-year contract. However, if you do not let them know that you are not going to renew them, it will automatically renew for 1 year in that contract if we don't give them notice. In addition, if we are going to quote things, I would ask that we're accurate with our quotes. It wasn't about the ESS contract, it was about the numerous contracts that were requested that required a lot of paperwork. It wasn't about the 2-page contract. Thank you.
Okay, well, I wasn't given to me on Wednesday, but it's okay. I have another question. A long-term subs on the contract, does it have, how long is a long-term sub? After 20 days is a long-term sub? 10 days after a long-term sub? How many days?
Who's got the rule? Just answer the question.
How long before the long-term sub? 20 days.
So I think it's just 20 days.
On the contract, can you hear me now? It does actually provide the time period. A long-term sub rate is from 1 day to 59 days, and that is the rate for the 135. And then at 60 or more days is when it becomes a leave replacement.
That's not what we got sent yesterday night by Mr. Garcia.
On the right-hand side,
Yep, that's not what we got from Mr. Garcia.
In addition, this is something that we went over with the Finance Committee on Monday night. We had support for.
I understand that, but the whole board votes, and there should be clarification to make sure that I know what I'm voting for. I'm sorry.
What exactly is your question?
My question is, on the contract, it should specify how long is a long-term sub. On any contract, there should be always more detail is better than less detail, if that makes sense. And it's not specified in the contract, and I was wondering why, and if it could be put in the contract.
We're not going to rewrite the contract now.
Well, it's different than what,
I would just like to stress that the most important thing is the contract that we are entering into with ESS and the rates. We could always follow up and let you know exactly the dates of a long-term sub, but it's more about entering into a 3-year contract with this company, which is the conversation that we had with the board and with the Finance Committee. So it's about a contract entering in. We also know how much the rates are. We're not disputing whether a long-term sub should get paid X amount of dollars. It's just how long is a long-term sub in that position. So we'll be able to provide that information to the board.
with all due respect, what was quoted for me is different than the rates you're describing in the contract that you sent. The rates are different. As I understand, maybe I'm wrong, it was said that you said 1 to 20 days, 30 to 40 days, or something like that.
Going to address the first type of a substitute, which is a substitute that would only hold a substitute credential. That individual could be in a classroom up to 20 days. If you're going to have a substitute that is going to be in your classroom for a longer period of time, they would need to hold either a CE, certificate of eligibility, a certificate of eligibility with advanced standards, or a standard certificate. In that case, that is what they would be referring to as somebody who's in the classroom for more than 20 days. So in a situation where, let's say, if I have an employee who's going to be out for 45 days, they would be in the sub-rate category of 1 to 35, because they're required to hold either a CE, CAS, or a standard, so that they could be in that classroom more than 20 days. So it is considered from 1 to 59 confidential. Once they're in a classroom for 21 more days, we are required to have them hold a teaching certificate, not a substitute credential. And at that point is the time period where our rate changes. Does that explain?
What is the rate? You said 60 days? I'm sorry, you said from 30 to 59 days. What is the rate for that?
So if you're going to have somebody in the classroom for more than 21 days, they will need to have either a certificate of eligibility with advanced standing, or a standard certificate. That is what the state requires us to provide. And in that case, if you're going to have them in there for more than that time period, they would be falling in the 135 rate, because that individual is required to do lesson planning and follow curriculum and assessments, contact with parents. So that is the rate that was proposed in the finance committee meeting. And then once they're going into a situation where they will be there for 60 or more days, is when they're going into the higher rates, so that we're able to attract better candidates.
What's the higher rate?
Oh, so they're the 150, the 160.
We were never given that. On the contract that Ms. Lynn received, that nothing of that sort was there.
That was what.
That's not what we got on yesterday at night, 9:57.
Nick is looking at it, so everybody is.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Doesn't have what? Which one?
The email, you said the 3-year contract, you signed us at 9:50 something? 57? I'll tell you the exact time.
So which one is it
9:21.
that you're looking for?
The 60 days and the 90 days, I'm not sure, there's nothing there on that paper that was.
I don't know that the rates, are the rates in the contract, or
The
is?
rates
Yeah.
are right here. This is what was sent to the board last time.
Oh,
So
okay,
this was the first page.
Okay.
This is the second page that was sent to the board last
Okay.
night.
all right.
You know, and then we just have
Let me
to.
see.
The 60 days and the 90 days, nothing's
So
there.
what we can do is you can approve or put the contract up for a vote tonight, and then we could come back to this 60 and 90-day rate at the following meeting, and then we could just bring it back to the finance committee and say, these are the 60 and 90-day rates, and just the board could vote on that rate at the next meeting while we vote on this contract.
Would it be possible for us to vote on the contract, everything in June, since the contract doesn't end until June, so that everybody can see the whole, all the rates, and just instead of piecemealing? If
Well,
that-
let me just say this about that.
That would be, I just feel like whatever was sent should be what we approve.
The substitute rate is our rate. We can pay them $5 a day or $500 a day. What ESS does is they take a percentage of whatever they receive for us. So whether the rate is $150 a day or $100 a day, that doesn't change the percentage that's going to be taken by ESS. So there's really no reason to put this on hold. Yes, you should have the information, and Nick is going to get you that. But that's the sub rate. That's not the rate we're going to be paying ESS. That's a whole different set of circumstances.
You're right, with all due respect, we are approving also the amount, because if it was just the rate we approve, I would 100% agree with you, but we're also approving the amount, and we are not, and apparently there's 2 different contracts, and it's very confusing.
No, there's not 2 different contracts.
Well, what we were sent is not what was explained just now.
All right, well, listen,
I asked-
so hold on.
And
Read it. Finish your comment.
I would have really appreciated if you can put it up until June so everybody could see all the rates at one time in one column instead of approving everything piecemeal, because we're approving a full contract, not just piecemeal
I
contract.
just need to respond to that. By us putting this off, this could have implications on our extended school year program, because we may be hiring paraprofessionals and staff needed through Effective School Solutions, which is starting shortly after our June board meeting. So for us to put this off another month, that's why we're just saying, we'll take a look at those 60 and 90-day rates and come back to that. But if we put the whole contract off, it could have implications on our summer program.
When is the contract expiring? I'm just curious.
June 30th.
Okay, and you're starting in June, you're having a meeting in June 10th, I think? Do we still have enough time?
No, we're not having meetings on June.
June 24th.
We're having a couple of meetings
So
during,
that's before the contract.
the next public meeting is June 24th, okay? So,
Can we approve it in the policy meeting on June 7th?
no.
Okay, one more thing. Why are the membership fees not listed, the R8?
What was the number, Rita?
R8, maybe I'm looking, it says membership fees listed on the agenda.
It's not required to list the amount for this membership, and that membership, for instance, the school board is pretty much required for the district to be in school board. So we don't have to list an amount on the contract.
But didn't we get that, somebody sent that home?
No, you send this, but I'm just curious for the public, just as a curiosity.
It's $26,000, give or take, like $26,350 for school boards.
No, I'm not complaining about the amount, I just think it would be better for transparency just to list for the future all the contracts we pay, how much we pay, so nobody has to open and go through all that. Thank you.
Anything else, Rita? Read anything else?
Since we're speaking about transparency, I just want to segue into something pretty cool. Thanks to Liz, who's here. She created a QR code for our board meetings moving forward, so we don't have to kill too many trees. So if you walk up when you're at our meetings now, or on our Facebook page, and it'll be on our website, you can just hold your phone up to the QR code, and it'll pull the agenda right up to your phone now, which is pretty cool. Kind of like what you're doing when you go into restaurants and looking at a menu.
Any other board members, questions or comments? Ron?
Just a quick question, two questions. The other night at the Finance Committee meeting, that was the same thing you sent us last night, if I'm correct? Or was I missing something?
One of the rates was different.
One of the rates was different, okay, but the last meeting, somebody said about having committee meetings, which we had the other night, and the Finance Committee supported this, so I don't see why we need to hold up the vote. That's what the purpose of the committees are, to recommend to the rest of the board. If they don't want to vote for it, that's fine, but the committee didn't approve it.
All right, thanks, Ron. Any other board members? Questions, comments? Vlad?
Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Okay. A couple of things. So first, the page with the race is indeed slightly different between what the Finance Committee saw and what was sent to us. So just for me to understand what I'm voting for, we're voting now for the contract, for the markup rate. Are we now voting for the rates or not?
Yes.
We're voting for. Okay, now which rates are we voting for? For the ones sent to the board or for the ones sent to Finance Committee?
The one sent to the board last night.
We're voting for the rates sent to the vote last night. This page, not what was discussed by the committee.
And you'll see that one of them, instead of being $115 a day for the certificated teachers, it's now $110 a day.
And the long-term substitute has only one rate, 135, not for full day 135, not.
Correct.
Okay, all right, good. Second question on the minutes. Minutes for the last monthly meeting, I believe, have a mistake. I think I wrote you about it, right?
I did, and I forwarded it over to our business.
We'll correct that.
Oh,
Just you motioning, that was it, that there was an incorrect later, is that what you're talking about?
okay, yeah, so what's the procedure? Do I need to make a motion to correct it?
No, but you were
correct
gonna
it.
correct it in the final minutes, we post them on the website.
Okay, good, fine. So you'll correct in the final minutes. And just to mention, I will be abstaining on insurance motions as usual because my employer requires me to do so. I'm done.
Thank you, Vlad. Anyone else, board members, questions, comments? Mr. Santana?
One. Thank you, Mr. Vanta. Page 14. I will be abstaining from item C, E3C, elephant 3 cat, because I have not been provided with access to the book. I cannot approve a book I haven't seen. And I believe as a board member, we, meaning, and I'm speaking for myself, we need to be provided with reasonable access to this. On page 15, I don't have a copy of the proposed agreement, so I will be abstaining from this item, E3D, page 15. On page 17, the first candidate on P1, Mr. Norcia, does this candidate have a certificate of eligibility at hand or already issued, or a certificate of eligibility with advanced standing already issued by the Department of Education?
So every person on here either holds a certification in hand or graduated college, and it's in Trenton, waiting to be processed and sent back up.
I appreciate that answer, but that was not what I asked.
I'm
My
trying
question-
to not refer to an individual candidate on here so that we don't have a
Okay,
conversation.
the attorney can stop me if I'm asking something that is not appropriate. My question is,
Wait, I'm sorry. What you said, Paul?
The question was about if somebody holds a certification. My answer was that every single person on here holds a certification or just graduated college and it is down in Trenton and we're waiting for the certification to come up because it's pending. Mr. Santana wanted to know about an individual person. I said I didn't feel comfortable speaking about an individual person's name on the personnel. Mr. Green said he defers to you whether or not we should have that conversation.
I can make a motion to go into closed session.
No,
right
no,
now.
no.
My-
That's not going to be necessary.
Okay,
Okay.
all I want to know is if all the candidates in P1 have been issued a certificate of eligibility or a certificate of eligibility with advanced standing. And if not, if the county have authorized the hiring. Because as far as I understand, and I'm a practicing teacher for almost 20 years, you need to have either or in order for you to be legally employed by a school district. So if the attorney can clarify this, and if all these candidates meet this requirement.
We went through this.
Hold on. Yeah, we went through this last year, the exact same conversation. The exact same conversation, the exact same question.
Was it- I
Mr.
don't-
Green, don't interrupt me, please. Mr. Green, could you please answer his question regarding eligibility, hiring, and being put on the agenda?
As we said last year, the individual needs to have completed the eligibility process prior to their actually commencing the employment. They can be hired tonight, effective with the next school year, and they will have the necessary credentials by the time they begin their service in the district. And that is perfectly acceptable.
Okay, just to answer to the board president, my memory is pretty accurate. And last year, the answer I received to the question was totally different than this answer. Last year, the county authorized it through an emergency certification. And this year, the answer has been different. So, just for the record. So, moving on
It's not accurate.
page 27. P6C, Hall 6 cat. Sorry, I meant page 28. I will be voting no on number 5 and on number Okay, this is, all right, on page 35, F5B, Frank 5 Boy. Again, I have not been provided as a board member a copy of the proposed memorandum of understanding and articulation, so I will be abstaining from that item. Page 40, R3A. I will be supporting R3A, however, I will not be supporting R3B. Page 44. R4A. Raul A. Apple. I will not be supporting that item on the agenda. R5A, page 46. Information, R5A. I apologize, some of the items are changed because of the update of the agenda. Page 51.
Mr. Santana, how much more do you have?
Yes, I'm almost done. If I may.
Okay, let him finish.
Okay, here it is. They changed the page. For R5J, they changed it. Also, because of the reasons I stated before, I haven't stated, but this was sent to us almost at 10 p.m. the night before, and based on what I heard, the finance committee received information.
Mr. Santana, I'm letting you go ahead, but you're now a minute past your time, so please wrap it up.
Can I stop now and then my second turn continue?
Yes.
Okay, I will do that. I apologize.
Any other board members, questions, comments on the agenda? None. Okay, look, and you're up again.
Okay, thank you. 46A, page 51. Wait, sorry. On R5J, page 49. The reason I cannot support this item is because I wasn't going to support it because I received the information the night before around 10 p.m., almost at 10. I go to bed after 8 p.m. I cannot vote for something when I don't receive it in a reasonable time. And based on what I just heard, the finance committee received an information that is different from what from what I receive as a board member. So I cannot, in good conscience, support that. That would not be the right thing to do, in my opinion. On page 51, R6A, Raul 6 Apple, I will not be supporting this item because some of our policies are outdated and need revision, and some of the revisions that I have proposed have fallen deaf ears in the time that I've been on the board, in almost 3 years, so I cannot support an adoption of the policies when many of them need revision. On R6B, I haven't seen the operating procedure manual. I have not been provided access to it, and I cannot support something, again, that I haven't seen. Page 55. R8A. This, I am a little disappointed at the agenda because in the first draft we received, the fees were there. Now this is the updated agenda, the fees are not there. So that's a little, I'm a little disappointed. And page 56, I would like, I don't know if it's possible, Mr. Garcia. We have many people in the community that get their news through online and websites. And we have a very popular website in town called Top News. Would it be popular to put ads, like publications on one of those online websites in Fairlawn?
I'll look into it.
Okay, I would like to hear about that in a reasonable time. Thank you.
Mr. Santana, thank you. Any other board members?
Here's the textbook, by the way.
All right, at this time, comments are over for the agenda, and I would like to take a vote. Back to the right page. You have a motion for G1, please.
So moved.
Just all in favor? Opposed? I'm sorry, Rita, comments are over for, I can't hear you. You have to use the microphone. We're voting right now, yes. G1, yes. Okay, so when we get to you, you just, okay, well, you just say I abstain. But you really got to use the microphone, because if I can't hear you, I know they can't hear you out there in TV land. Okay. There's a motion, right? And a second for G1?
Yes,
Okay.
Mike and Mark.
Okay, could I have a roll call?
Mr. Barbarulo. Mrs. Pavelovich.
Abstain?
Mr. Itkin.
Yes, with the correction on the
Yes, we got it, thank you. Mrs. Mahan. Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Mr. Spindell. And Mr. Banta.
Yes. A motion for S1 through S3.
So moved. Second.
Got it.
Okay. All right, a roll call, please.
Mr. Itkin.
yes.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo. Mrs. Pavelovich.
Abstain on S3A? And everything else, yes.
Mrs. Mahan. Mr. Spindell. Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg. Mr. Banta.
Yes, except abstaining on S3A. I was not at the meeting. A motion for
Abstain.
yes.
I should abstain from S3A as well because I was not at the meeting.
Okay.
I realize it now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a correction to that.
Thank you.
E1 through E3.
So moved.
Second. I heard two movers.
I heard two first, no second.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
No on P1. Can I vote on one particular item on P1? Or it has to be the whole thing or not?
It's E1.
You say E1? Oh,
E1.
I didn't hear it.
What? Oh, man, sorry.
Did
I said P. I said P. That was my fault.
Oh, okay.
That was my fault. I apologize. I went too many pages. It's E1,
We're on E.
E1, E3. That's my, I should have. Okay, conventions, workshops, extracurricular trips. Okay.
Should I start over?
Yeah, start over again.
Okay.
That was my
Ms. Quackenbush.
fault.
Still yes.
Mr. Santana.
Abstain on E3C. Abstain on E3D. Yes on the rest.
Thank you. Mr. Barbarulo. Yes. Mrs. Pavelovich.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan. Yes. Mr. Spindell. Yes. Mr. Itkin.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
Yes. All right. P1. Through. Hold on. Actually, no, yeah, a lot of stuff. Through P5, P6, yes.
So moved.
Sorry. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Pavelovich.
For P1, do I have to vote all, or can I split it up?
If there's no letter, it would be all of P1 or all of P2.
Oh, so it can just, last time we were able to split it up. Last time.
Hold on a second, let me, Paul, can she abstain on just one? Or does she have to do them all? 'Cause-
It's called 1A, B, C, and D.
Okay, so you want to abstain on one
I
A,
want a P1, 3, and 4.
P1, 3, and 4?
And then I want to vote no for P6, C5.
Okay, I'm going to make it P1, A, B, C, D.
Right,
Okay, so you're wanting to abstain on P1, C
And D.
and D, right?
Yeah,
Like
P1,
off?
the
Okay.
third and fourth.
And then you're going to vote no on
P6, C5.
P6, C5.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Mahan. Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Itkin.
No on P like Paul, number 6, C like Charlie, number 5. Yes on everything else.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
On P1, A as an apple, abstain. P6, C, Paul 6, Cap, number 5, no. Yes on the rest.
Thank you. Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
yes. SE. All right, good, thank you. Have roll call, please.
Mrs. Mahan. Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Pavelovich.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo. Mr. Itkin.
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
Yes. Motion for
C.
C1. C1,
So moved.
roll call, please.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Pavelovich.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Yes.
Mr. Itkin.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan. Mr. Banta.
Yes. Motion for F1 through F6, please.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Pavelovich.
This is for R, correct?
F.
Please.
Mr. Itkin.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo. Mr. Santana.
Abstain from F5B. Yes on the rest.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Mrs. Pavelovich.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan. And Mr. Banta.
Yes. Motion for R1 through R8, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Santana.
It's on the R's.
Yeah.
The Rs.
43A, sorry, 43B, no. Sorry, I meant R3B, no. R4A, no. R6A, no. R6B, abstain. R9, abstain. Yes on the rest. I can repeat if you need.
No, I got it, thank you. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
I abstain on the following: R5N like Nancy, R5O like Omaha, R5P like Peter.
Thank you. Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Pavelovich?
I abstain on R3A, and I'm voting no for R5J.
Mr. Barbarula?
Yes.
Mr. Stendal? Yes. And Mr. Banta?
Yes. That concludes the agenda.
Mr. Board President, there were so many R's that hopefully I didn't forget one of the items. I just want to double check to let the record reflect.
I'm gonna read them to you, and you tell me if I got it
No.
okay.
Not just one item.
Okay.
R5J.
I did not get that
You
one.
didn't get that one?
That's
Because
a
you didn't say it
no
till
or
just
an
now.
abstention?
Abstain.
Okay.
Okay. We'll get that sorted out. Time for other business. Turn to public first. Questions, comments on other business for the public. Hi. If you could just step up to the mic, state your name and your street.
He's going to turn the microphone
Oh,
on.
okay. Thanks.
Hello. Eugene Tarnow, Radford Road. Critical race theory, a bunch of anti-intellectual nonsense originating from bad social sciences trying to get its tentacles into the Fairlawn school system. It tries to confuse people by making evocative statements. It insists that only stories count. Truth, reason, science, and statistics does not. It's very disruptive. Just think of Portland and Minneapolis. For the last 9 months, the board has created the Fairlawn Public Schools Equity Leadership Team that is supposed to conform our school system to at least one of the tenets of critical race theory, which is equity. The current mission statement of the Fairlawn Public Schools Equity Leadership Team reads, while the global community is diverse, complex, and increasingly interconnected, historical and contemporary inequities have led to systemic barriers to resources and opportunities. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. This statement is a bunch of nonsense. There's no way to assess whether there are systemic barriers. And what does systemic mean? Can it be defined? And it seems that these barriers have just arrived on the scene, and these guys were so smart to discover them. Haven't we all worked for years on making barriers smaller? And all teachers should know that there is no way to reach an equal outcome. You can have equal opportunity, but not equal outcome, unless you use violence. The Fairlawn Public Schools Equity Leadership Team consists of 10 teachers and administrators. Since critical race theory is an attack by bad social science, the team has no math or science teachers on it. The Fairlawn Public Schools Equity Leadership Team has kept the parents in the dark. Actually, the board and the public schools have kept the parents in the dark about the effort to introduce critical race theory into the curriculum, but it is an effort that has been going on since September. While we parents get inundated with emails from the Fairlawn schools and the school board, most of which are of little importance, the introduction of critical race theory has not merited a single email. To me, it looks like the school board and the schools are trying to pull a fast one over the parents. The information is posted on the website, but this part of the website gets no clicks. You send us emails about all kinds of trivial things. You need to send an email to the parents about your effort to let critical race theory run our school system. You cannot leave us in the
Thank you, sir. Any other members of the audience on any subjects? Okay, seeing none. Now, on board comments on new business, I saw Vlad first and then Rita.
May I comment on what Member Olivia stated?
Yes, you may.
Okay. So the diverse leadership team's work is important. Whether we like it or not, it is important. And I agree that maybe it might be a good idea to send an email to the community describing their work.
Thank you, Vlad. Rita?
I have a question. The board got an email a while ago that the middle school each will get a guidance counselor. Is that still the plan, or?
For September, yes.
Okay, so I understand we hired one, but then the other one is not advertised yet, or are they going to be
They were
advertised?
advertised together. We're just wrapping up an interview, and it should be on the June agenda.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Rita? Any other board members? Questions, comments, other business? Mr. Santana?
I too would like, if the superintendent can reach out to the citizen that spoke, so the district can hear more about his ideas, his concerns, his vision, because we are one family, one firm, and everybody is included. At least that's how I view it. I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss internal communications. Mr. President?
Okay, first of all, we have a closed session scheduled for tonight. Second of all, what do you want to discuss?
I would like to
Internal
discuss.
communications?
I would like to discuss what has been a practice between the board of education and the administration, and I, as a board member, need clarification on that, just so we're on the same page. So since we are going to have an executive session, I would like to bring that up. If it's okay.
As long as it fits into one of the exceptions for closed session, then we can talk about it, yes.
Okay. I know we approve a membership to pay our dues for the New Jersey School Board Association. I would like to know if we can reach out to them to see if they can provide a training for us that I feel, this is my opinion, my personal opinion, I feel that the board needs training on developing relationships and teamwork. I feel that I have asked throughout a year ago for cultural sensitivity training. That did not get any support. I'm asking this year for training on developing relationships and teamwork. I feel that will help us work better and work together. And the New Jersey School Board Association, I believe, with the almost $30,000 dues that we pay them yearly, I think they can help us in that regard. Now, I want to read these statistics real quick. According to the New Jersey School Performance Report, 2019, 2020, in our schools, we have about 19% of our students are Hispanic, 15% of our students are Asians, and about 59% roughly are white. Meanwhile, according to the same report from the New Jersey School Performance, we only have 4% of our teachers are Hispanic, 3% are Asian, and 91% white. This is a big disparity, and I would like to see us doing better in this regard. And, you know, again, I may face backlash like I have been on this board for even proposing it. We're doing enough. What else you want us to do? Being yelled at during meetings, constantly in the time that I've been on the board. Many insults. And I think the first thing we need to do is to make sure we're doing the best job we can for our children. And if our district does not resemble our community and our students, there's a lot we can do better. So this is something that I would like to see. And I also have the statistics from the U.S. Census. Furlough has a foreign-born population from the year 2015 to the year 2019 of 30%. I know me saying these statistics make some people uncomfortable, and everybody here can say, you don't make me uncomfortable, but whenever I have proposed ideas to increase diversity in our district, I have received direct pushback. And as a minority in this district, in this Board of Education, I do not feel welcome. I do not feel welcome as a minority in the Board of Education. And everybody wants to feel respected. You know what? I also want to feel respected. Everybody wants to be addressed a certain way. You know what?
Hey,
I
Mr.
also want to
Santana,
be
your time
addressed
is
a
up.
certain way.
Your time's up. You're going to get another 3 minutes.
I don't need the other 3 minutes.
Okay.
I just would like,
And well,
if we do
why are you
better-
still talking? I said your time is up. You don't need the other 3 minutes. Is there
Okay,
anybody else?
You just want to have the last word. You could have the last word, Mr. President. This is the kind of insult, disrespect that I'm talking about.
Mr. Santana, I told you your 5 minutes was up. You can have 3 more minutes. You said I don't need it and kept talking. So I don't see how that's insulting, but okay. Julie.
I just wanted to clarify something, Mr. Norcia. Can you clarify for us, I thought we just voted on one school counselor. Can you tell us how many school counselors per middle school we are anticipating for the 21-22 school year?
Yes, at Memorial, we will be at 3, and TJ will be adding an additional 1. That should bring us to 5.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is 3 at Memorial and 5 at TJ.
I believe TJ is probably 4. TJ will be
4. Okay, so 3 at Memorial and 4 at TJ. Okay, great. Second, I just wanted to share that I actually agree with Wilkin. I think that we do need some sensitivity training, and this is not just cultural sensitivity training. We need to have sensitivity training on our culture, on gender, on race, and any other perceived marginalized community. This is much bigger than just cultural sensitivity. We need to consider everyone's individual difference and be respectful of that. I do have to say that as someone who is considered a marginalized community, I feel as though I am respected for the most part with the majority of this board, and I appreciate that, but it's not global. And in order for us to function and work together for the greater good of our school community and our children, every single person needs to be respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Cindy.
Thanks, Jean. I just want to say that about a year ago, I had brought up to the board, I think twice, about having board retreats and having somebody on the board have a role in being the liaison between New Jersey school boards and the Board of Education. And absolutely nobody said one word after I got done speaking. I did speak about it again and nobody said anything. So to say that we need training and whatnot, I don't know and I said this back then, and I'll say it again, I have no idea what it will take, because we have been through board retreats with New Jersey school boards on a multitude of things. We've all agreed, and 2 months later, it's like we were never there. It's a waste of New Jersey school board's time, it's a waste of the superintendent's time, and it's a waste of the board members' time if they're going to do the training and not implement what is agreed upon during the retreat and what is expected of us as board members. You can train until you're blue in the face, but if you're not going to accept what they're saying, then it just falls on deaf ears. But I still would like to see somebody on the board take up the role that Mary once had and I'm not talking about master board, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about New Jersey school boards and training with the Board of Education. But I did bring it up twice, and I understand that New Jersey school boards is not doing in-person training, but I believe that will be opening up soon.
Thank you, Cindy. Any other board members? Questions or comments? Mike?
I agree with
Oh, I got
Cindy. You know, this was a year of COVID, and it's rough. I don't know if the new board members were able to get training yet. Did that take place? Because I agree that training is very much needed on this board right now. And I agree with Mr. Santana that there needs to be training. A training workshop on working together, we've had that before, and it's worked out in the past. I don't know when the last time we did that, and I agree with the comments by Mr. Santana.
Thank you, Mike. Any other board members? Questions, comments? Oh, yeah, Ron. Said I got you, and then I forgot.
I'd be willing to set it up for Mr. Lee if you want to do a retreat or some type of training.
Thanks, Ron. I did communicate with Matt Lee, and what he suggested this time, what he said was, they're not doing anything live right now. Maybe in the fall, but it's not his choice. The school board's just telling, don't do low. So what he suggested, and what we're going to do probably next week, is we're going to send out a board self-evaluation. And some of you know what that is, and some of you don't. We'll send that out. Actually, you go into the website, you fill it out, and then Matt Lee will compile the information, and then he will sit down with us at a meeting one evening, and we'll dedicate it just to the board self-evaluation. And it's a really good tool, because you can see exactly where we click and exactly where we're not clicking. And Matt can help walk us through that. So that is where we are with that. And then he said, once they're opened up in maybe September, October, November, we can then have another retreat. But I'm going to tell you exactly what he told me. He goes, I'll come, I'll do whatever you want, but half the time you don't listen to him. So let's keep an open mind when he's there. We're always told to keep an open mind, so let's everybody keep an open mind when he's there. And he says, hey, you've got to do this. No, that's not your role. Yes, that's the way you do it. And I remember he came one time to a meeting, I don't know, a few years ago, and was talking to us about what we did wrong, and the board started arguing with him. You're like, no, you're wrong. He says, no, I'm right. And then the next time he said, I'm not going to do this if people are going to yell at me because of what I said. So just keep that in mind. It's a ways down the road, but it's something that we have to do, I agree 100%. So we're going to start out with a board self-evaluation. And Matt will come in and go over that with us, and then we'll put together some kind of retreat in the fall. Ron.
I just want to let everybody know that there's a Bergen County School Board meeting on Wednesday, June 2nd. If you want to go, just go online and Bergen County School Boards and register. I'll forward the email to the entire board that have the information. So it's the last one before the summer, and James Gaffney, the president, said it'd be a good one. We're going to have a lot of good speakers there.
All right, thank you, Ron. Cindy, that'd be great. Okay. Mr. Santana, you get your second 3 minutes.
For anyone that have read the research of Marsano, he talks about something called first order change, second order change, and furlong right now, as someone who has lived in furlong for less than 10 years, I see furlong as a town in motion. It's changing drastically, even from the 7 years ago that I moved in town, and it's only going to change more when almost half of the town was born overseas. And when we have so many cultures represented from Israel, Russia, Ukraine, Eastern Europe, Latin America, the Philippines, you name it. And, you know, it's only going to keep changing. And it's not a bad thing. It shouldn't scare anyone. It shouldn't make anyone feel uncomfortable. It shouldn't, no one should feel that, you know, that nothing's being taken away. You know, we all got elected by the same community at large, but, you know, no one should be yelled at on this board. No one should be told off. You know, we make mistakes. We are human beings. But we have to, at the end of the day, you know, the former Secretary of Defense, who's now Chancellor, I may be pronouncing the word incorrectly. For those of you that don't know me, English is my second language. I came to this country when I was 16 years old. He said that in order for leaders to get something done, they have to be able to socialize after work. And I didn't understand what that meant. But then he went deeply and said, before you create policy together, you got to get along. You know? And I agree with what one board member said. When Ms. Wallace was a board member, she was in charge of the birthdays, the cake, you know, and bringing us together. Even, you know, and now, you know, we have no one in charge of that, but we have a lot of people who don't have a lot of smiles, you know? And it's a very unwelcoming environment. And we have people who are looking into becoming board members. My term is up this year, and I would like to be replaced by someone who's not afraid to be yelled at and insulted on the board. I would like people to get to be on my seat who are going to be an agent of change to move our children forward, to move our community forward. So let's do it, not for now, let's do it for tomorrow, for the future, for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Okay. Mike? Okay, secretary.
Thank you. I just want to respond that I personally am not afraid of change at all, and I'm not afraid of peace within all of our members and our whole community. And I think it has been an issue. And I just want to say I'm not afraid.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Can I have a motion to recess into closed session? Are we coming back out to vote on anything? What? Okay, we have one item to come out as a legal matter. We have to come back out and vote on. You're welcome to stay. We need this room, so if you could just step out if you want to. Here.
Here.
Mr. Santana. Mr. Santana.
Yes, I heard you. Yes, present.
Mr. Spindell. Mr. Banta.
Here. I have will and addendum, approval of separation agreements.
Second.
No roll call, please.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Itkin.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan. Mrs. Pavelovich. Mr. Spindell. Mr. Barbarella. And Mr. Banta.
Yes. Okay, that is it for this evening. We'll see you, well, the public will see you. Yeah, well, let me get an announcement.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
Motion to close the meeting.
I was just about to give the next date, which is June 24th, and June 17th is a policy meeting. So now I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, nobody's opposed. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy Memorial Day weekend.